Podcast. We appreciate it.
Yes.
All right. Today we have an absolutely great topic today. Today's topic is gender roles in 2025. Are women too independent, or are men just not stepping up? All right. You guys hear that, right? I'm gonna repeat that again. Gender roles in 2025. Are women too independent, or are men just not stepping up?
That's
all
a
right?
hot topic.
So here we go, guys. We're gonna go ahead and dive right on into it. Again, welcome to another exciting episode of J&B Live Podcast. It's your boy Broker J3, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only, the beautiful Dr. B. How you doing today, Doc?
I am doing wonderful. I'm glad to be alive. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to dive into today's topic. It's one that's been a hot button issue for a while now. Gender roles in 2025. Things are shifting, and we're seeing a lot of back and forth between men and women. So let's talk about it, Broker J3.
No doubt. I've been seeing so many debates over this. There's a big question floating around. Are women just too independent these days? Or is it just men just are not stepping up the way they should?
All right, women, this is a hot topic. Thank you guys for joining us. Couple up, H&M. Thank you for joining us. We've got Tierra Brown. Thank you for joining us. We've got Lass. Thank you guys for joining us on this hot topic. Now, that's a loaded question. I think both sides have valid points. Women, in many ways, are way more independent than ever before. We've come a long way. Women are running businesses. They're getting them degrees, because I know I have mine. They managing them households. They're doing it all. But on the flip side, it's like, are the men or are the brothers doing their part? It feels like sometimes we're stuck in this old school mindset, and men are just not stepping up to the plate. They're just not doing their job, how sisters say it.
Okay, I hear that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go ahead and get this thing going, and we're gonna start off with the independent factor. All right, so let's get into it. Women today are making big moves,
yes,
as Doc B say, they running businesses, they're buying their own home, they're just doing the darn thing, if you understand what I'm saying. So saying it's inspiring, others say it's intimidating, But here's the real question. Has the level of independence made it harder for relationships to work?
Okay. So this is where things get really real. I think the issue isn't that women are so independent, they have their own, they can do this, they can do that. It's that society has not adjusted to what it means for a relationship. We're stuck in that old traditional way where men have been raised to do what? Be the provider. But now women don't necessarily need a man for financial security. I've heard it too many times before. Women say, I don't really need a man except for a couple of times during the week. But that's a shift that not everybody knows how to handle.
Exactly. And I think that's what creates the confusion that we have nowadays. Some women feel like, I can do it all by myself. What do I need a man for? And some men feel like, if she doesn't need me to provide, then what's my role? That dynamic is throwing a lot of people off.
Yes, it is. And let's be real. Some men take that as a hit to their ego, because women want a man that's going to bring some value to the relationship. So it feels like they are replaceable. You can get another man, the woman already doing it all. But here's the thing. Being a man isn't just about providing financially. We want more than that. It's about emotional support. It's about leadership. It's about stability and bringing value to the table. That's why I push it so much that sisters need to be in a relationship where they bring something to the table as well. The problem is that a lot of guys have not been taught that.
That's facts. And a lot of times, I hate to say it, a lot of times it's because of a lot of these single women that's doing the darn thing. They're raising young men by themselves. So, but anyway, that's facts. And again, on the flip side, some women feel like they have to be independent because they can't trust a man to step up. They've been let down so many times before, so they build up this mindset is it got to be me. I don't need anyone else. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, they're carrying all the weight in the relationship, physically, emotionally, and unfortunately, financially.
Yeah. And then it becomes what's called a defense mechanism for sure. But I think we got to clarify something before we go any further. Being independent doesn't mean that a woman does not want a partner. I'm sure there's plenty of women out there who are independent, but they still want a partner. It just means she refuses to settle for one who does not contribute to the relationship. The real challenge is finding someone who understands that balance that you need in your relationship. And remember, we talked about it don't necessarily have to always be 50-50. It can be 80-20, but it has to be that balance. And both of you have to communicate what it is that you need. Angelo Dixon, thank you for joining us. Mr. Hicks, Jody, thank you for joining us. We've got a lot of people on today. Thank you guys for joining us. Dewey Rhea, thank you for joining us. And Mary, thank you for joining us. Much love to you today. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Real talk, Dr. B. And let's take it a step further. What about the women who say they want a man to lead? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then when a man tries, they get that pushback. Like you hear a woman say, I want a strong man. But in the moment he makes a decision, it's a problem. What's up with that, Doc?
Okay, that's a good one, Broker J3. Some of that comes from past experiences. Been hurt. Sometimes men don't always make the correct decision in some relationship. If a woman has to be the leader in her own life for so long, she's been that leader, she's been making all of those decisions, it's hard to suddenly just turn all of that loose, let someone else take the reign. Trust plays a huge role in letting go and letting that man make the decision. If she doesn't trust that man that can make a solid decision, she's not going to let him lead. Just plain and simple.
So you're saying that it's not that the woman don't want the leadership. It's just that they don't trust men to lead the right way.
Yes. And for a lot of women, yes. And honestly, it's not always their fault. It's if they've seen men drop the ball, whether in their personal lives or in society, they're going to be hesitant to turn that rein loose. That's why today men have to step up in a way that goes beyond money. Leadership isn't all about control. It's about partnership.
Yes. That's a bar right there, y'all. And I think that brings us to the first scenario. Let's paint a picture of what this actually looks like in real life. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Let's do it like this. All right. Now imagine this. Let me see here. You got a woman who's been handling everything all by herself. Mm-hmm. Career, home, finances, even fixing stuff around the house. She's used to doing it all, literally without a man. Mm-hmm. Then she gets into a relationship and her man wants to be the provider, but she's like, nah, I got this. What happens then?
That's tough because now you've got a guy who wants to step up, but he's feeling like he's not needed. And you've got a woman who's used to being self-sufficient. So she struggles to let him in. It becomes a power struggle instead of a partnership.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you know what happens next. Okay. The guy starts pulling back. Mm-hmm. He starts feeling like, well, if she don't need me, why am I even here?
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of relationships start to break down.
Exactly. And then on the other side, the woman is thinking, I want a man who's present, but I don't want to depend on him. In other words, I don't want to become totally dependent on him. And that's fair. But if you don't allow a man to contribute in some ways, he's going to feel like an accessory, not a partner.
So what's the solution? How do you get past all that, Doc B?
You've got to communicate. You've got to communicate with your partner. If you're that woman, you've got to be honest. Instead of saying, I don't need you, try saying, I appreciate you. Mm-hmm. But I've been doing this for so long on my own that it's hard for me to let go and let you in and let you step up and do these things. Work with me on this. And if you're that man Don't just shut down. Find ways to add values outside of just financial support. There's plenty of things to do around a house other than financial support. You can provide support in other ways.
That's real, Doc B. And I think men have to understand that being a provider in 2025 means more than just paying bills.
Yes, it does.
It's about emotional security. Mm-hmm. It's also about being dependable and showing up in ways that matter to your partner. Mm-hmm. And women have to recognize that letting a man contribute does not mean giving up their independence. It's just making room for the teamwork to work.
Yes, you have to be in a partnership, and that's where the teamwork comes in. Any problems that you have to communicate those issues to your partner. So to our listeners out there, we've got Only Child joined in. We have Paula 407 that joined us. Thank you, Paula. Albino D, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. Carrie, Kelly, thank you for joining us. To Alias, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate your support. So we've addressed what it means to be in a relationship and it's kind of unbalanced and you need that partnership. So what we're going to move to next is, have you been in that situation first? We want to hear from our listeners because we want you to join in and tell us exactly what you're thinking and how that fits into your life. We've seen declining college enrollment rates for men, lack of motivation in some cases, and an overall just being hesitant to commit. Is this a societal issue or a personal choice? What do you think, Broker J3?
I don't know. I think it could be a little bit of both, actually. And again, you guys, if you guys have experienced any of these things we're talking about, especially this hot topic in regards to the gender roles that's going on nowadays, please let us know. Shoot a comment. If you don't want to put it in the comments, shoot us an email, DM. Let us know. Continue to shoot them hearts out there. If you want to support by giving a gift, we appreciate you guys, as we always do. Thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you.
Let's go ahead and just jump in that next segment, Doc B, because I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Are men falling behind? This is the second segment. This is the other side of it. Are men just not stepping up to the plate? And as I mentioned earlier, there's been a decline in men attending colleges. That's going down. I don't know if it's a lack of motivation in some cases or that issue where they don't want to commit. So we were talking about, is this a societal issue or a personal choice?
Okay, well, I think it's like this. A lot of men feel lost, they're just lost because traditionally masculinity is being challenged already, especially in today's society. And they don't always know how to navigate through some of these modern expectations. They want to lead, but they don't want to be labeled as controlling. They want to be providers, but they're competing with women who are just as capable, if not more. Okay. It's a balance that many men right now are just struggling with, Doc B.
Yeah, I think that is a fact. And let's be honest, some men are just not putting in the work. I don't have the percentages as to how many are or not, but I just know personally what I see and what happens in my area, in my circle. Men are getting too comfortable letting women do it all. Some men will sit back and let the woman do everything and then blaming them for being too independent. You can't have it both ways. It just doesn't work that way.
Exactly. And some men see successful women, they feel like they've already lost the battle. So they don't even try, Instead of stepping up, they check out. We've seen it so many times. But here's the thing. Success isn't a competition in a relationship at all. It's just not. It's about complementing each other, not competing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what creates that balance. And that's where the disconnect happens. Some women feel like they're forced to take on both roles. And then some men feel like they've been pushed to the sidelines. Instead of adapting, too many guys just retreat and say, well, she don't need me. So what's the point? I'm not going to fool with her. The point is relationships just aren't about need. They're about value and adding value to your partner's life.
Exactly, and that's key, Doc B. It's not just about money, guys. Okay, it's not just about money, or who got what degree. It's about bringing something to the table.
Value,
whether that's emotional support, ambition, because most of y'all know y'all don't have any of that. Leadership, step up. You know what I mean? Literally step up to the plate, or just showing up. Being consistent. A lot of times you guys start off doing something and then you stop. Continue with that consistency that you had when you started off. The guys who feel left behind, y'all need to stop seeing strong women as a threat and start seeing them as a real partner.
Yeah, and then you oftentimes you'll hear men say, I'm just adding to what Broker J3 said, that men say, well, she's out of my league. She would never date me. No, that's not true, because you might not have the best job in the world. That doesn't mean that she wouldn't date you, because as Broker J3, it's more than just about the finances. It's more than that. Okay? Now, so for women, it's about allowing space for men to show up in different ways. Give them that space to show up, to add value to the relationship. Leadership isn't just finances. We just talked about that. A man can lead in many different ways. He can lead with his character, his stability, his emotional intelligence. Women have to be willing to accept that leadership looks different in 2025 than it did 15, 20 years ago.
Exactly. So real. Look, if you want your relationship to thrive, and then we're talking about both sides, have to stop pointing fingers and start working together. Men need to evolve past outdated ideas of masculinity. And women need to recognize that independence doesn't mean pushing a good man away. It's about balance.
Yes, and I know y'all have heard it too many times before. A good man is what? It's hard to find. So if you got one that adds value to the relationship, then you want to try to keep that man. Okay? Now, we're going to move on to the last segment, which is the final thoughts and the call to action. Okay? This discussion isn't about blaming men or women. It's about understanding how relationships have changed and what both sides can do to build stronger connections.
Facts. So we want to hear from y'all. Let us know. Are women too independent? Are men not stepping up? Where do you stand on this? We'd like to know. Again, hit us up on our socials, Live with J&B or J&B Live Podcast. And let's keep this conversation going.
Yes.
And even right now, guys, for some of you ones that's in the room right now, go ahead and post it in the comments right now. Let us know, are women too independent, or do you feel like men are not stepping up?
Yeah.
I want to give you guys a few minutes to, put it into the chat. Let us know. We like to know how you guys feel. We see all these beautiful people in the room, listening and watching, but come on, guys, go ahead and put it in the chat and let us know how you feel.
Okay. All right. Mary Sloan, let us know what you're thinking. Mike 67, let us know what you're thinking. And also Nathan T2Fly, 2 Alias. And thank you, Kara Kelly. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. But let us know what you're thinking. We see Branham Make 50, Birth Children. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up. But before we do, we want to leave our listeners with some key takeaways. One, women being independent is a strength. This is not a weakness, women. But that doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. Partnership is still valuable. Still valuable.
Yeah. And number 2, men, step up in more ways than just financially. Bring leadership, stability, emotional intelligence to the table. A relationship isn't about control. It's about contribution.
And women, if your partner or significant other is not bringing any value to the table, or it's not communicating, then you have to communicate. This is the third thing that we want to re-emphasize. If you're struggling in that relationship, you want to talk about it. Don't assume. Don't just shut up. You do want to speak up.
Exactly. And number 4, guys, let's stop looking at each other as the enemy, because you're in a relationship with one another. Neither one of you are the enemy. Men and women both want love, because that's why you two together.
Yes.
You want respect and you want value for what you bring into the relationship. So let's focus on, how we can work together instead of tearing each other down. Because a lot of times, as Doc B was saying, I want to go back to number 3 with that communication. A lot of times it's the breakdown in communication. And when you have that breakdown in communication, you guys are not talking to each other. So you're assuming what you think the other person is thinking or what you think the other person may be doing. And that may not be the case. A lot of we talked about it earlier, how men shut down. So if a man shuts down and he's not speaking, guys, you got to speak up. Speak up. You got to speak up. Let the woman know, hey, this is what's going on.
Yes.
Tell her what's on your mind. Tell her how you feel about that particular situation. You have to communicate, because otherwise it's going to be some real issues in a relationship that nobody really wants.
Yeah. And what I want to do is give the final shout out to those who are online or joining us. We have Ashley Taylor, we have Blue Eyes, we have Creisha. Thank you guys for joining us. We have Carrie Miles, Mary Sloan, Patricia Hack. Thank you guys for joining us. Shade Johnson, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate your support. We appreciate you, and thank you for joining us. And until next time, we want you to stay real, you stay talking, and keep pushing the culture forward. We want to keep bringing these conversations to you week after week. As I mentioned earlier, we're available, or we do our podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. So we want you to join us every single time we go live. And
exactly.
We appreciate you.
And again, guys, you can always catch the J&B Live Podcast on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, J&B Live or Live with J&B. You can catch all previous podcasts and even some amazing playlists that we have yes. available for you guys, that we know that you guys would just absolutely love. Make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel yes. so that you can catch all of the content that yes. you guys definitely want to check out. And we know a lot of you guys, you're constantly on the go. You don't have time to sit there and watch a video, even though you may love our content. We already got you guys as well. We have our audio content available. So if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, we got you. We are there. Just look for J&B Live Podcast, and we will come up. Go ahead and save us and follow us yes, so that you can get notified for all new content that comes your way. So wherever you get your podcast at, hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and let's keep this dialogue going.
Yeah. So thank you for tuning in. And remember, let's talk about real relationships where both men and women step up and find balance. Thank you, guys.
Real talk. And until next time, y'all, I'm Broker J3.
And I'm Dr. B.
And we appreciate you guys for joining us with J&B Live Podcast.